Stewart Mandel is college football writer for The Athletic and so much more, and he's here to make sense of a lot of things going on with the sport. Stewart, how are you?
Good, Maggie. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Okay, so we'll get to the Big Ten in a moment because they just had their big announcement, but let's start with the SEC, some of these coaches on Capitol Hill. What are they doing in D.C., lobbying lawmakers? What are they trying to get done?
They're trying to get lawmakers to do what the NCAA itself has not been able to do and rein in NIL. And, if you're Nick Saban, if you're an SEC football coach who's been used to basically having total control over recruiting, and all of a sudden there's collectives and there's donors and there's people who are, basically using NIL money as a way to recruit players, you're flipping out right now. People who are outside that sphere might be more like, what's the problem here exactly? But so that's what their strategy is, starting all the way up to the top, the NCAA president. They basically, their plan A at this point is to get Congress to do something about all this. But I don't know that they have a plan B. It's to get Congress to do it, and ideally in time for the next election this November. And so I wish them luck, but, I'm not sure why they think that a branch of government that just last week was trying to solve an actually, important problem of the government or the country possibly running out of money is going to care about athletes' endorsement deals.
Hey, Stewart, I don't understand when you say rein it in. Are they talking about like a salary cap, like players? What does it even mean, rein it in?
Yeah, well, for some of them, that's that. I mean, it's very chaotic, right? Like since they allowed NIL in the summer of 2021, it's been very chaotic, and it's driving them nuts, right? Especially when you combine it with the portal. Suddenly, a player can transfer out of your program at any time. And we know that sometimes one of the reasons they're transferring is because another school gives them a better NIL offer. So I don't know that there is one cohesive solution that they're seeking. Some people have proposed something. Nick Saban has proposed something akin to a salary cap. The president of the NCAA wants athletes to, or maybe the collectives, to disclose the deals so that everybody knows what everybody else is getting. All of it is code for we don't like the fact that the players make money now. It really is. I mean, let's be honest. Nobody's suggesting a cap for coaches' salaries. Nobody is suggesting that LeBron James should have to report how much endorsement money he's making every year. This is something that they only think is a problem for 18 to 23-year-old college athletes.
Funny, if they tried to put a cap on coaches' salaries, I feel like they would call it un-American.
They'd be back on Capitol Hill tomorrow.
Yeah, oh my gosh, don't get in the way. Stewart Mandel is joining us, college football writer for The Athletic, senior college football writer. So, Stewart, let's turn to the Big Ten. Just had their big announcement, no pun intended, the flex scheduling for the 2024 and 2025 season. What's the big takeaway that we should know about?
Well, on a broad scale, there was a lot of questions about how they were, 16-team conference, and you want everybody to play each other regularly. How do you protect all the various rivalries? And so the answer is it varies from team to team. Some of them, Penn State doesn't have a single protected rivalry. Ohio State, Michigan is protected rivalry. Some have more than one protected rivalry. So it just varies from team to team. I think that's an interesting compromise. And then, it's just interesting to see it on the page that USC is going to play in 2024 schools like Maryland, Northwestern, Purdue, Illinois, Iowa. But then also USC is going to play Penn State and Michigan, which are big national games. So it's our first glimpse of what this really unprecedented world is going to look like, where you've got these two schools in L.A. playing teams that are mostly in the Midwest and the East.
Stewart, so there's also Pac-12 news this week. A bit confusing, I think, about how they're going to split up the money at a certain point. Is the Pac-12 going to be able to keep Oregon and Washington, or are they at some point going to head over to the Big Ten or another conference?
Last summer and fall, after USC and UCLA left and everybody's head was spinning, there was speculation that the Big Ten would be interested in Oregon, Washington, but at this point, that's pretty much faded. I don't sense any momentum that the Big Ten is going to expand again anytime soon. So the bigger question for them right now is, can they get a TV deal done that, and it's been delayed over and over again, that's financially viable enough that nobody's going to go to the Big 12. Because the Big 12 openly wants the Arizona schools, Colorado, and Utah. What was the news yesterday was not that they've reached a TV deal necessarily. It's that when there's a TV deal, they've agreed on how to split up that money. There had been talk about unequal revenue sharing. They've agreed to equal revenue sharing of the TV money. Where there could be uneven is when it comes to the playoff. And the teams that actually get in the playoff and win games would make more than the teams that don't. So nothing is done until there's a deal and they've all signed off on the deal. But I think that's an important first step because that was a question a lot of people had in terms of, are they going to have to give Oregon and Washington more money to try to keep them?
Well, if they're not going to give them more money, then what's to keep Oregon and Washington? Aren't they the more valuable programs than, say, the Arizona schools and Utah?
Absolutely, but I don't think they have any interest in going to the Big 12 is at best a lateral move for these schools. I don't think Oregon and Washington are looking to go there. Big 10 they would go to in a heartbeat. But in college conferences, right, you have these grant of rights where you have to sign, if you're going to sign a 6-year TV deal, you're signing your rights away for 6 years. And that date that you're going to have to do that by is coming up soon. So if Oregon and Washington agree to do that, then the talk about them going to the Big 10 dies for at least those 6 years.
Stewart Mandel joining us, college football writer for The Athletic. Stewart, it's been like 4 days, and we don't have any Deion Sanders news, and we're getting withdrawal. The realistic outlook for Colorado year one under Deion is what?
Oh, Maggie, that's a tough question because nobody knows who any of these guys are that are going to be playing for them. They turned over the entire roster, and there are some notable, especially, his son, who's going to be the quarterback, guys who came with him from Jackson State. But for the most part, it's a bunch of guys who haven't played that much. I mean, they're coming from, in many cases, major programs. They haven't played much yet. And so it couldn't be worse than they were last year. They were, probably the worst Power 5 team by a significant margin. I think they'll be better. I think it would frankly be disappointing if they don't win more games. But are they going to be 4-8? Are they going to improve all the way to 9-3? Nobody really knows. That's why there's a lot of interest in those first couple of games. They're playing TCU to open the season, Nebraska the week after that. And I can't even really think of a comparable situation where you just have no idea what kind of team you're going to see out there.
Stewart, we have 30 seconds left, and I know this might be an impossible ask, but if there is another TCU out there this year, and by that I mean a program that no one really is seeing, no one will see coming and could have a shot at the college football playoff, who could that program be?
Let's go with the Oregon State Beavers. There were 5 or 6 top 25 teams at the end of the year in the Pac-12 last year, and they just kind of flew under the radar as a 10-win team. Great coach in Jonathan Smith. Obviously, USC is going to get all the attention with Caleb Williams and Washington and Michael Penix. And I feel like they're just sitting there. Nobody's talking about them. And I think they could at the least, contend for the Pac-12 championship. And if you can do that, then playoffs in the picture.
Stewart Mandel, read him on The Athletic. Fantastic job, Stewart. Appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, we'll see you at USC Maryland, Stewart. That rivalry is back.
Can't wait. Let's tailgate.
Yeah, well, you throw out the record books when those two schools meet. That's for sure. Thanks, Stu.